Welcome to Critical Thinking. This is a short course where I will tell you what an argument is, how it is constructed. It is made up of two different parts, and we'll talk about the link we have between those parts. So I'll go into further explain what I mean by argument, what I mean by premise, and what I mean by causal link. How do we form logical arguments? And how do we recognize when it seems like something isn't quite right? Now, I think many of us have pretty good judgment when we look at something. We either accept it for what it is, or in the back of our minds, we think, hang on, I'm not sure I agree with that. And there are many different reasons why that may be. So this is really about being able to talk about or understand why these things may or may not be correct. So the basic thing is talking about the structure of what I call an argument. Now, an argument is not just saying, yes, it is, no, it isn't, arguing back and forth about nothing. An argument is something that is constructed, that has reasons or premises, and has a clear conclusion. That is what I will define an argument as. And this is really the foundation of logical thinking. We use arguments every day, and this is what will shape our beliefs about the world. So a couple of examples I have. Argument one, if it is raining, then I will get wet. So that is a very basic argument. The reason or premise is it is raining. The conclusion is I will get wet. So if I believe that reason and I believe that conclusion, I can see the link between the two. Now that's very simplistic, but we can add other premises or reasons to our argument. So in argument two, I've added another reason. If it is raining and I don't have an umbrella, then I will get wet. So in context, these are very simple, believable statements. There may be certain circumstances where it may not be true. If I haven't qualified something like I didn't go outside today, then that would change the argument. But if I can accept this argument in context, it seems to logically connect. That is, rain is made of water. It makes people wet. I can accept that I will get wet if I don't have an umbrella. All right, but what do we do with that? So what? Let's look at some more practical examples. And really the essence of an argument is that link between the reasons and the conclusion. Because many times if we have a problem with somebody's argument, there is a problem with that causal link. So that is, maybe somebody has a conclusion, but the reasons they've got for believing it are not so good. So let's break that down into why. And I've got some examples here. So the very first one, the last recession occurred while the previous government was in power, so we can clearly see who was at fault. And what we're looking for is this link in causality. Now, just because two events occurred simultaneously, it doesn't always necessitate or mean that one causes the other. So, did the government cause the last recession? I think we need to consider a lot of different things before we leap to this conclusion. Often these days, the economy is a global concern. So was it something predicated by a global event, or was it indeed a local thing, in which case we can attribute more blame? So these are the things we need to be aware of, the link between the reasons and the conclusion. So a couple more examples down here. The first one, a nice silly one. If a cat has 4 legs and a chair has 4 legs, then a cat is like a chair. Everybody will know that is a very silly argument, but hang on, why is it silly? Why? The reason it's silly is it's taken just one attribute between two things and tried to make a connection of similarity while completely ignoring all the other factors and attributes of those things. So yes, a cat and a chair both have 4 legs. What other properties do they share? Very little. One's alive, one's not. One's made of wood, one's not. So there's a problem with that analogy. That is the fault in the reasoning. Number 2, last time we went camping, there was a big hailstorm, so we should never go camping again. Sure, some people might believe this. If they've experienced something bad, why would you risk experiencing it again? However, we must consider the probability of that event. So do hailstorms occur all the time? Almost certainly not. It was just perhaps very bad luck that it happened at that time, and perhaps they did not also check the weather forecast. So is that a reason to never go camping again? Perhaps that should be reconsidered in terms of probability. Number 3, clearly we need to change our company logo. I really don't like it and I feel it's very important, so let's just change it already. A compelling case based on emotion, but not based on any logic. It has really just demonstrated somebody's feelings towards something using emotional language, but it does not prove any point. It does not argue any sort of logical reasoning as to why this logo has to be changed for any business purposes or economic reasons. It is simply one person's feeling. That is the problem. So that brings us to the end of critical thinking. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.